My name is Jerry Donald Craig. I was a fire control technician, missile, second class, petty officer. They flew me from Travis Air Force Base, California to, well, it had several stops along the way, including Hawaii, Guam, Wake Island, and then finally ended up in the Philippines. Went to Clark Air Force Base, and there I bus to Subic Bay, where I caught a ship, the USS Regulus, which is a supply ship. The first one was very old. It was old. The Regulus was an old World War II supply ship. It had no machinery aboard it. Everything was done by hand. Everything was handled by hand. All the cases, whatever you're doing, was all hand. We call it fingerprinted. Everything done by hand. There were so many people being deployed at that time that the ship had a full complement, and there was, seemed like there was about 16 or 8 of us left Subic Bay. They had no berthing space for us, so we actually slept in the ship's library, side by side. They put us on cots and they started in the door. Of course, the ship's library is very small. So you start out against the far wall and you work your way toward the door. Once you put your cot out, you're there for the night. I didn't have any permanent assigned duty other than just being temporary. But when we did replenishment, everybody went to work. You go alongside whatever ship you're replenishing. Everything's done by hand. It's backbreaking work. They would bring it up out of the hole in cargo nets and set it on the deck. But then you put it off everything by hand on whatever you're going to transfer it over on. Or another pallet or whatever, you got to get so much of this, go here, and you separated everything. You make sure that net's all around it real good and secure, and then up she goes. Normally, depending on the size of the ship you're replenishing, it would take anywhere from an hour to half a day. We did a couple of carriers. I think the Ranger was one of them. Went from there to Da Nang Harbor, and where they took on supplies to supply other ships. And we were there maybe a week, something like that. I went ashore, didn't go far, but I did.
What did you do?
Mostly just went around looking at sights. That was it, sightseeing. Da Nang wasn't bad at that time. And we went back to sea, and I stayed on the Regulus for about another week and was transferred from there to the USS Sacramento, which is another supply ship. But the second one I went aboard, the Sacramento at that time was a new ship. It had elevators, it had forklifts, actually aboard ship. And I thought, well, this is gravy here. You got it made. I never did drive a forklift at that time. I had never been on one in my life. I was not assigned to any division or no permanent station or anything. Just whenever we went alongside, it's all hands on deck. I actually had a bunk on it, but I was only on there for maybe a week, something like that, before we found the peak. What we were doing was chasing my ship all over the Tonkin Gulf. And finally came alongside her one night. And she was on station, and they transferred me by Highline, which is a bosun's chair in the middle. It was scary. It was scary. I couldn't see my hand in front of my face. And they're swinging us. Of course, they got Marines pulling us over, which is scary. You feel a spray, and you think, well, I'm getting wet. And for some reason, I picked my feet up, which I don't know what good that's going to do, but if you're going to get wet, you're going to get wet from feet up. So it's spray is all it was. It was mostly just spray from the both ships. Oh, it was probably 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It was a very long 4 minutes, especially when you can't see anything. It was at sea in the Tonkin Gulf. This was in March, toward the end of March, I think, 1966.